Let's check that again. Here we go. This should be good here. What's up, Alan? Thanks for joining, my friend. Booba, not bad at all. How are you? This week's been choppy. It's been a little bit rough on my brain, to be quite honest. This kangaroo market is a little bit really testing my patience, to be quite honest. Wasn't the world's funnest week in that sense, but thank you for tuning in, my friend. Just getting a couple things here ready. Let me get the charts all set up on my side, and then we'll just go ahead and jump in. We're definitely just going to be talking about the big elephant or the kangaroo in the room of just the chop. We are seeing a lot of signals in the sense of some key stocks that we follow have been breaking down below some key levels, especially the 50-day, which is a large momentum for a lot of people. But yeah, we'll see how that goes play. So let's go ahead and get started. I hope everyone can hear everything okay. So we'll just go ahead and have some fun today. Again, you got any questions, comments, please put them down below or in the chat box, and we'll try to address them as best as I can. Kangaroo, without a doubt, yes. Yeah, the chop, again, it could be a bull, it can be a bear, but it's really considered chop. And the reason why I'm kind of did the overall kangaroo movement here, because again, we saw the 21 is pretty much flat here on the S&P 500. So enhance, basically looking for that. Basically since the beginning of September, we had that pretty large sell-off. I think it was like a Thursday or Friday. I think it was a Thursday because I had a surgery on Friday. And it just sold off heavily, and that movement really continued and just really haven't really recovered from that. We haven't really broken down substantially lower. We have been broken down slightly. So we look from the very tippy top here down to around where we're currently looking at. Oops, let me get this here. We're looking at here on SPY. We're not looking at the futures. So we're looking at this around almost it's 8.58%, so nearly 9%. Where could the 10% level is. So we talked about that 330 price target, and it did hold. Like, it didn't break below that. It really did bounce off it hard, but it did come all the way down to 327 ish to the down end, almost 326 on the S&P 500. So that basically really kind of just like scared a lot of folks. But again, we had the triple witching and all that volatility, and just that what we looked at for chop, it just really just kind of made the market just so much more potentially going down, and a lot of those, even those little small moves, really didn't help with overall my patience and my expectations for what could have happened this week. It was just a very too much chop, and I don't like. Chop is good, going down, corrections and all that fun stuff, but it's difficult when it's just a period of thinking of the news expectations, all the other folks that are saying, and it's just been a very much a blah kind of week. Like, we really didn't do anything. Did the bulls or bears kind of win? I think that argument's still in the air. So if we look here on the Qs, aka the noodles, we call them, they are around the same level. Right below that, the white line is that 55 EMA, and we're seeing that break. We closed below it, so this is the low. We haven't seen these lows since basically, what is that? It seems such a long time ago. We're looking at towards like in the August ish time frame from that previous pullback. So this is nothing's like crazy. Like, I don't think this is going to be playing out anything like we saw in February and March. Like, I don't, we don't have that stigma, or again, I don't know. There could be some news dropping, but yeah. DMC 82. Yeah, Apple did hurt me as well. I'm down in Apple as well. Added some positions around the 106 to 107 price target, just a little bit today. But yeah, been a lot of stuff going on there. With QQQs, what could we be looking for? We can kind of be looking for some initial support, some of the swing high. Did the wrong wrong thing for you here. 1 second. Boop. There we go. Swing high to swing low. We looked for that initial 50% retracement from that swing high to swing low to basically that 261 on the NASDAQ. And that's going to be around the 618, which could be coming down to the 257. Again, Monday, brand new day. That initial, the triple witches is out of the way, that expiration. But that being said, we could see a lot of potential movement still to come, even though we are seeing a lot of volatility in the market. By seeing a lot of volatility, we're seeing a lot of swings up and swings down, but the volatility index hasn't really moved yet. So let's go ahead and look at the volatility index as well. Mind you that this was the large move that we saw way back in February, March, but even this little spring up that we've seen the last couple of days, it really haven't seen too much activity going on here with this. We did have that gap up, but we never really broke that previous volatility that we saw on that initial sell-off of the previous week in the beginning of September. So that was basically the understanding of, hey, the fear gauge of what people are fearful of how the downturn could happen or whatsoever is not as strong as it was a week prior. So again, this is again ensuing and pointing to that particular chop. So just be mindful of that. I'm not gonna be running out ringing the register and selling everything, but yeah. Dyslexic bets. That's it. Is a cool name. What up, Makeshift? Thanks for joining, my friend. Exactly. I don't want to buy the dip as well. It's going to be, it could be a head fake. It could hoodwink us or whatever you want to call. Put a terminology on it. It's just like I said on my the Discord was like, it's just, this is tough market because we really just have to wait and kind of sit and kind of wait on our hands and just kind of watch the screens unless the longer term positions are still in play for me. The shorter time like options trades that I normally do that are anywhere from like a week to a couple weeks, I really have to take them off the table. And just really small nibbles on selling puts, like just to kind of give you some insight that I sold some puts 30 plus days out in the old Amazon around the 3,000 level. And those really kind of printed against me pretty hard today. And I had to honestly cut back a little bit because I saw it really break below that 29.72, which we had as a price target. So I cut half of it off immediately just to kind of manage risk. But Amazon is really in a somewhat of a down pull, even with the overall market. It's well below the 50-day, well below the 55. We're trying to have some support here around 29.72. But this overall movement here does not look interesting as well. We have the 5 and 8 moving averages continually aggressively pointing to the ground here. Could easily test the target at 28.13, even coming down to the 144 EMA here. That's basically around the 2700-ish range, and even down the 200 EMA again. You just got to know your levels and just kind of play it like that, around the 2600 here on the 200 EMA, depending on how aggressively that down pull could be. So very careful, be very mindful of that. You have to kind of wait for the way I trade. I kind of have to wait for the chop to kind of level off and build a base, because there is no base here in Amazon yet. It's still kind of somewhat in downward trending market. Same with Apple. Apple broke below that box, that box that we kind of put it in purgatory. We're looking for, once it broke that 108 to 107, we talked about it going to 105, and it didn't hit the 105 nearly, but it's trying to potentially head that direction. Because again, there is no base building here right now. Yes, could we get a V-shaped recovery if Congress gets their stuff together, and then we can get a stimulus package for businesses, homeowners, or whatever else folks that need the cash? We could get a nice little blimp in the market, but I don't think it's honestly priced in. I think and also the potential of a vaccine is priced in, but it's not the full extent of where it could be if we really get some profound data. Ryan says, Workhorse, yes. Workhorse is the only one that's working well for you. Yeah, Workhorse is one that's like you look at it every morning. Like people post it in the thing is it's been just really just printing higher. We talked about that initial target around $28, really just blew past that today. The next target is really $38.34. That's a pretty high extended move here at the 2618. Can it hit it? Sure, why not? I'm not going to say no, but this move is getting to somewhat of an overbought. That doesn't mean that it's going to be coming selling off and this going to be continuously going down. But we saw here previously in this range here. Why does it always do that? In this range here, we were overbought for literally like a week and a half, 2 weeks before we had any kind of pullback and kind of some consolidation. So I think that this could easily potentially happen within the old Workhorse. Potentially, if this movement can continue and this momentum really just drive itself as higher, could be looking for that $38 price target, even to 35, and just potentially do some chop or just kind of trade sideways from there. Yeah, Shopify as well is also one that's come in. Shopify and Spotify. Sorry, Spotify. I always get the two mixed up. So Spot. Oh, I'm lucky. I cut it because I had an alert that it sold here at a couple days ago, I believe, because I had stock in it. But this one is this one looks a little bit better than what we saw in some other previous ones. It has been getting hammered, like you said, my friend, but it's really it is trying to hold this base here at that 236 here potentially. But again, yeah, there has been a lot of damage. There's holes in this stock, and it's basically not very performing the greatest. But this is definitely a movement that we're seeing here to the downside here. Potentially here, it bounced off that 1272 at $220 here, but now we're kind of seeing it trying to level off here. You can see that with the moving averages. We're still not getting any really strong confirmations here because the volume zone oscillator is really on the negative range of -60, so that's pretty extreme there. And as well with the RSIs is kind of just a little bit lackluster and kind of falling asleep at the wheel. Yeah, those are basically the ones I've been looking at. Tesla's holding my account up, which is kind of scares me, consider it's doing that for a lot of people. I agree. Like, I think it's the Tesla is definitely a really strong stock. FedEx has been a really strong stock for me. AMD has been hit for me as well, but those are longer term positions I have to hold on. DMC 8282 saying I was scalping snow, lost $200. Yeah, I wouldn't touch snow with a 10-foot pole right now. Dyslexic Bets is saying CCXX. What is CCXX? Churchill Capital. Interesting. That's basically looking for some really aggressive chop here. Talk about chop here and some really swings high and low. We do have a 2-day squeeze setting up here, but the last 2 days, multiple squeeze to the same downside really kind of printed it lower. We are above the 21 EMA and the 5 and 8 are crossing through it. Even though I'm not sure what this company does, I couldn't give a really true analysis on it, but we're looking for, if this does fire short, we're looking for some support to the downside around $10.92. If it fires long, we're looking for some overhead targets, and I can give you that here. Again, hitting that overhead resistance at that 50% move, basically around $11.55. We failed at that today. If this can get to the positive side, we're looking for around $11.87, even to $12.34. To the downside, if this squeeze does fire short, or if we continue to base build around that 1120-ish range, we could easily come down to 1081 for the initial thing there. October 7th is where there's a merger possible, blank check company. Okay. I don't do well on trading a potential mergers. I kind of need to know on what's going on there, but it's, yeah, The stock looks okay. I don't understand it. Yeah, a lot of people I don't think are buying the dip. I'm not a goat, but yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Racco says Amazon. Yeah, we just did Amazon, but we can kind of look at it again. I love the pattern here. This is a great time if you have cash, you have dry powder. It's easily to try to eat. It's really easy to get stuck on just throwing it at the market because, like, oh, we haven't seen this kind of movement in a while. Let me just throw some cash at it. Um, that is somewhat some people folks do. It's not really what my cup of tea is. Again, we're still like again on Amazon. Looking here on the weekly side, we're kind of coming to that 21 EMA, which that 21 EMA is around the 28. Let's just call it 2850-ish range for the 21 EMA on the weekly side. We haven't seen that for quite some time. And remember, Amazon was trading previously to the overall pandemic outbreak. It was basically doing next to nothing. It was just trading basically from November of 18 to basically the February of this year. It was literally just in a penalty box and it was just trading sideways. This whole move and pandemic really just drove it higher. I think that we could easily see some potential chop here in Amazon. We're seeing that really, again, that trend really starting to break down a little bit. Again, looking for that 21 EMA on the weekly side. This is a weekly chart to potentially hold, so be very mindful of that. GME was up something like 8 or 10% today as well. Oh, yeah. GameStop has been absolutely crazy, right? Like, it still hasn't broken that $9.60 range. It didn't close above it. So again, that's just telling me that that is the initial resistance. And if we can go back here on the weekly side, and it kind of tells me where that resistance has come in before, has been here, but there's nothing really outstanding. And this is, again, it's the 38.2 percentile move, which is nothing to really write home about. But that being said, with G&E being up at a substantial price over the last couple days, it's got on a lot of people's radars. We could be getting some FOMO built into this because, again, you can look here on the volume just the past couple of weeks, last week and a half, really. That stock has really seen some activity and some really a lot of inflow of potential investors, or we could be just seeing a lot of trading here as well. So maybe just faking it until they make it. What's up, Tech? I bought the dip on a couple of wild stocks. I think you can nibble on things. By nibbling, it mean like if you initially would put in $1,000 or 3% of your net liquid of your portfolio, you would just start with like a very small percentage of like 10 or 15% of that initial 3%. So let's just make it easy round numbers. If it's $1,000 your initial investment is, you would just put in $100 or a very small smid bit to kind of, again, to nibble at it to see on how things play out and keep it on a very short leash. We're talking about PlayStation 5 pre-orders. Yeah, I'm learning a whole new business on how folks do that. That seems insane. Did we cover Tesla? My B just got here. What's up, Zach? We have not covered Tesla. We can look at the old Tesla here now. With the Tesla, again, everyone's expectations of going into battery day and just I want to call it the hype train or the FOMO building up, but I think there's a lot of folks who are really looking at Tesla and like saying like this really is their uh, excuse me, it's basically their shining light. It's their main core portfolio holding. It's a lot of folks that have been really long this, and each time when it comes any kind of pullback, we get the we get so much buying in this, and just really kind of helps it to support it. Again, there is a lot of loyalty honestly to the overall stock, and then again that loyalty really goes into Papa Ela on really supporting and just being I think a wonderful CEO for the company. Even though that being said, we did have that enormous sell-off was due to a lot of things. But that being said, we are kind of hitting that V-shaped bottom, a V-shaped recovery, but now we're hitting that wall of resistance around that $438 range. We're now really kind of just hovering in around that range, potentially looking for the initial target to break above 467. We haven't really got any of the wicks up to that level yet to try to potentially break out, but initial support on the short term is basically around the 417. Then we're going to around 404 to 400, and then we're going to go all the way down to potentially the 370 to around 356. I know those are very wide ranges, but again, we're talking about Tesla here. It does have a pretty extensive move, so be super mindful of that. I did see the things you posted. Yeah, that leak. I'm very surprised that they had a leak, because the Tesla, if that's official, really does a great job of just not letting leaks out, to be quite honest. Bren, I said I bought two AC. What is ACI? Is this the grocery company you buy? At 15, 11, 20 at $45. So you're just potentially playing like a double bottom here. If we look here on the, again, it's a newer IPO, so there's going to be not much trading volume or basically indications to kind of help drive this. But we did hit a bottom low, all-time low today. This chart is still really looking aggressively to the downside. Just we're seeing the 5 and 8 just really kind of print lower here, and the 21. We have not been able to really get above the 21 for quite some time. Still falling down, popping up here on like the 11th and 12th of September, failing here at the 21 EMA, and still aggressively pointing to the down turn there. So be very careful on that one, my friend. I was nibbling was 3K. My hunch was it was a little bit beat down too much in 34 and Novavax. Okay. Can you do TTWO? Is that Take Two Interactive Fish? TTWO. Yeah, so this one was it actually moved really aggressively, but now you can kind of see that pattern really play out here. Let me see if there's any initial support to really oh, come on, click please. Yep, so it kind of came down and held that 1618 around $152. Now kind of just trading in a range. This is kind of building somewhat of a potential bottom here. Fish, again, I don't know how strong it's going to be due to the fact, again, that really sideways action between the 5 and 8 here. We are seeing it level off here, which is good. We're seeing it kind of hovering, being attracted to the 55 EMA as well. But we're still below the 21 EMA, and the parabolic SAR dots are still above us. So that trend is still going to be choppy to down. But once we start getting above the 21 EMA and those parabolic below us, we could be looking for chop and then going higher. But this is potentially looking to play out for chop, unless the overall market takes a much further aggressive dip down. Then we could be seeing some prices come in well below the 150th range. But if this looks great and we can get the 5 and 8 to push higher, we can look at some potential targets to the near side here. Would basically kind of come into the 50 percentile move, be around $166 to $170 of this D618. Someone says Netflix. Oh, my chat is updated. Netflix. Yeah, Netflix is another one that was kind of really again. Wouldn't say it's been just beat down ever since its last earnings, and it has made it try to recover multiple times. I think if Netflix can't hold this 470 range, we can see this pretty much to the downside to around 448 to even to the 200 EMA, which is on 430. That's going to again be kind of really tied to the overall market of things. But again, it's still beating down like all the other tech heavy stocks, well below the 55, and kind of just hovering in this chop and just kind of la la land. But yeah, it's going to be potentially, again, this is not considered a base for me yet, because again, the 5 and 8 moving averages are not really settling down. They're still somewhat pointing to the aggressively to the downside, but a nibble could get you a little bit of action going here. And keep your eye a little bit more aggressively on the chart. If you just put in a very small position and just kind of watch it in the corner of your eye, kind of, for me, it kind of helps me kind of hone in and just kind of potentially watch it in a slightly different way if I just had it on a watch list with no money in it. If that makes any sense. Who? Can we look at Costco? Yes. Costco. If anyone knows me, I love my Costco. That being said, we had this as a potential earnings run with the overall market. It kind of just kind of dragged it down, and it did hurt. Looking for that, and it was the initial support around 340. That really didn't come in. We're kind of bouncing here around the 50-day. We haven't seen Costco in a while hit the 50-day. Previously was way back in early summer. But that being said, we are seeing a squeeze to the downside. This is kind of really potentially looking for firing short. So the longer data positions I'm out of. That we could be, again, with earnings on the horizon, anything is a complete, as you know, a coin flip. So anything can spin in that certain kind of special direction on that. With that being said, if this can break and really go to the short side, let me give you some numbers to potentially look at there. Potentially looking for 327, even down to 325 to 321. Excuse me. If this goes lower and the overall market just continues to the downside, we can easily, let me do it this way. Oops. Come on. This level here, basically, if we continue going lower, and this fires short, because again, that there's a lot of red momentum here. That's a lot of selling, a lot of compression going to the negative side, and we did see the 5 and 8 just cross through the 21, so we could see this fire short aggressively to this potentially box. If it just kind of potentially rebounds on Monday and next week into earnings and kind of just trade sideways, potentially, again, just continue with the chop, we could see that earnings move be, again, random because it's a coin flip in my best case. Cyberpunk's coming out. Yes, it's gonna be look. Alan says nibble, buy the dip, and then wait for the dip to buy again. Yes, in hindsight, yes, basically that's what it is. Oh my gosh, my chat is updating too fast. Charlie says UPS. Yes, UPS is actually UPS and FedEx did okay for me today. With UPS, I actually like this one. It's still continuously holding this momentum here around the 158 to 157 range. We do have a squeeze. The momentum is building up. We do have the red as well on this one, but we don't have the 5 and 8 through the 21. So that's not a sign below that. And we have the parabolic SAR below the ticks again. So that's another positive trend. Even though that these are red, that doesn't mean that it's going to fire short if they're red. So we're going to be looking for this potentially to hold this pattern. I'm keeping this one on a short leash, to be quite honest, because I'm pretty heavy in FedEx. If this breaks below that 155 even to 152, I'm gonna have to call it quits. I'm really gonna kind of keep an eye out on the 34 AMA to potentially see on how that plays out, especially on next week going forth. If this really wants to continue, that next overhead target's be around 195 though within the old UPS, my friend. Oh shoot, my chat just updated. 1 second. Here we go. Tech, I've got a question. Does Beyond Meat count as meat to vegan? No, I think they would just consider it as a protein. I wouldn't call it meat. Puts on vegans. I own Beyond Meat longer term shares though. It doesn't count as meat because it's not meat, right? Alpaca says, I have 169 shares of TVGB. What is that? I've never heard of that one. TVGB. Did I just write that? TVGB. I don't have that one though. Fish, I will not be streaming Sunday. I'll be out, but I'll be streaming tomorrow. And what I'm going to potentially be doing, since I'm going to be on vacation and I should kind of disconnect from the world and maybe just read a book and just drink coffee and just relax on the beach, I might just do a potential shorter dated videos of, or I might just go live. I haven't figured that out yet because I haven't set up my Mac Pro yet on the different various softwares and stuff like that. But if you guys want rather to have me go live during the vacation or do videos, it's really up to the folks who are the subscribers and the fantastic folks that are just constantly in the Discord. Is what do you guys want to see more of? Do you want to see more of the live streams, or do you want to see more of the different typical analysis on a video? Like, I can give you an opinion on what I like to do more, but I like to rather do live streaming just because I get to interact with the folks. I get to talk to you guys. I get to really get to answer the questions. Yeah. Yes, Ryan, I'm planning on showing my pretty face to you guys soon. Kenny, about to do vlogging. I will never do vlogging. Alan, thanks for the $4. To get the cool hippo. Wearing Halloween. I don't think you could tell the difference between a Halloween mask and my face. Alan, thank you for the $4. Is that a hippo? What is that? Yeah, less work. Because I don't think a lot of people know that I still have a full-time job. I do the YouTube stuff for fun. This does not pay any bills. Like, it's just a lot of fun to do. That was a long thank you there, Alan. I appreciate it. Loading up for the bear dance. You get ready for it? You ready for it? There we go. Ryan requested it. Ryan, that's all you, Ryan. You made it work. You made it. Well, that being said, yeah. Um, did it stop going? Nope. It's keep going for you, Ryan. There we go. The button got clicked. Gotta oil my button there. I like the stream. Okay, thank you for the input there, DMC 8282. Is there a way to have a box with tickers you're shown? That's a good way to look at it, Charlie. I haven't thought of that. Definitely, I do repeat myself at times. But yeah, yeah. If you could, yeah, it's definitely it's something that it's an ongoing process of, like, some people have said, like, hey Ken, I love the streams, but you do the same ticker 3 times, but I'm live for 2 hours. Of course I'm going to do this might do Amazon 2 or 3 times or Tesla because there's going to be a lot of people coming and going, and just trying to help each and every person out in their own way. my, my boss doesn't give a crap. Yeah, that's definitely that's a good point there, Charlie. I think I should create something or some kind of spreadsheet to have on like the lower end of the stream, potentially what stocks we looked at. But I keep on, I think about so many different things I can add to the stream, but it's just, we'll definitely have to take it case by case. I don't know how I would integrate that, to be quite honest. All the stocks look the same, big red. Because again, like I think a lot of the folks here are basically more East Coast, and then towards the like an hour to like the 10:30, 11ish time frames, we have all the West Coast folks coming on, and then we kind of repeat itself. The Closet Bear Club. You love that saying, don't you, Alpaca? Um, Miller says, should I buy AAL, DAL, or CCL right now? For me, I wouldn't. So what I actually own is it's not. I don't know. I don't know anything about the cruise lines. First of all, is the airline ticker symbol JETS. That's an ETF that covers basically all the different various tickers of the airlines, your Deltas, your United, your American Airlines, and all that is all in one ETF. Instead of just picking one winner, which you can go ahead and do that, I would rather have a more of a basket approach for me. Because again, with airlines companies, they're all, I don't want to say this, they're all kind of the same. They take you from one place to another, but yes, some do it a little bit better than others, and some don't charge an arm and a leg to add a second carry-on or an extra baggage or whatever. And some give nice free snacks, and some are completely d bags and just charge you $10 for a crappy some crackers and cheese. When is the meet and greet, Ken? Who lives in Virginia? Mark says I like Workhorse and Lansdowne Motors. Mark, I actually nibbled on Lansdowne, Lordstown Motors. That was the uh, DP HC, right? Yep. Since they don't have options for this, I just had to buy the shares. So I nibbled on these, basically around like the 29-ish level, right when it broke above 26, so $27. I bought some. Again, this is a very small position. Looking for that potential move to around 33 is the next overhead target. Downside support is going to be around that 26 to around 25. Really strong support coming around $20. So this thing has just been running. I think it's kind of going to potentially get some more momentum due to the fact that hey, Nikola is the complete crap show of the world. And once that kind of blows over, I think that some of the more better ones, the better players can kind of come out and potentially that actually have a product. They actually have a facility they're going to be building their trucks in and so forth. So, yeah. Send it says, I think an overlay of the ticker might help. Can't see the ticker and sometimes miss the stock. Okay. That would definitely, I would have to do some research of that. I think I could figure that out. I think that might be a good indication of maybe in the top corner here, potentially have the ticker that we're talking about. I don't know how that would work in the sense of I can mimic this or maybe use this as like a magnifying. I don't know. You're giving me, it's good homework, a good challenge. I'm always up for a challenge to kind of figure that out. You printing with SQ though? SQ, I'm in PayPal, but SQ, I'm not saying they're the same company, but with SQ, it's actually doing substantially better than, again, a lot of those other tech stocks there. With that being said, we're holding between that 34 EMA and 21. We did bounce here pretty good on that 133 level. Looking for that potential overhead resistance, we're bouncing at 147. If we can get that momentum higher, again, we're just really in a lot of chop. That whole tech industry is basically kind of just not really most loved at right now, even though that the payment industry, the fintech companies have been performing fairly well, even though the overall cohort of technology stocks have been hit. With this one, we're looking for that potential sideways choppy actions around 147. If we can get any kind of really strong base going on here and get these parabolic SAR dots lower and really break out, we're looking, again, the target for SQ is still 170. So really looking to hit that. David S., are you using Streamworks to stream? I'm using, what is this? Yeah, Streamlabs OBS. Yep, Streamlabs OBS. Yeah, ZM's been really strong as well. It's been great. Okay, the chat just updated again. Let's see here. David S. says, if you're using Streamlabs, there is a plug to display a stock name you in your chart. Really? So it pulls from Thinkorswim. How does that connect? That's interesting. Exactly. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think the SQ or the SPY and QQ is gonna fall out of the sky. We're just in that kangaroo moment. People are still hoping for stimulus. I don't like to use the word hope as well because, again, I have no idea what Congress is doing, and I don't think a lot of people have the world's greatest faith in them at times. Lack of of what they can do, especially being an election year. That it's really just kind of throwing a lot of things up in the air. ZM is one I was getting back into and sold my positions off. Yeah, ZM. Like if I had just held this thing, like, and I was a good boy, I would have made a lot of money in this, a lot of money. But I wasn't a good boy, and I got greedy because greed is the thing. And I took my profits. I took a lot of profits in it, but yeah, I could have made a lot more. That being said, this thing is just looking fantastic. We just broke the parabolic SAR. I'm really looking for to potentially hold that pattern here. We are still trading between that 5 and 8 moving averages and just continuing grinding higher. We have the short-term support is really hitting that 8 EMA, which is around 406. But that is going to be the short-term side if you're very aggressive in the market. If you are looking for a little bit more of a support level, you're basically kind of looking between the 21 and 34. Let's just call it around the 350 to around the 340 level, because again, this is zoom. It does zoom around. See what I did there? And really just kind of potentially could come down to this level if we get any kind of crazy stuff bouncing around that. But we have to be very mindful of in respecting on what could happen and knowing the levels. We did break below that break above that 618 with those parabolic SAR dots, which is a nice little sign. We can break above again that 450 range. That target is still around 516 within the old zoom if that overall momentum can continue, because this thing looks absolutely crazy. So then if we slide over to the weekly side, holy moly, yeah. This right here, this is when all the folks were just consolidating here. People were getting scared. Wiped a lot of people out. I think this is around when we added the position. It had a nice earnings run. I got out of it right before earnings, but now this has just been completely just insane moves. I can't honestly look at this. It's just it sometimes hurts on how much I really left on the table, but it's hard to get into it right now since it has run so much. Thank you, Makeshift, for the ongoing support. Ryan says Big Boomer Ken bouncing off the 5 and 8. Anyone playing space? Yeah, I do have longer dated calls in space there, my friend. Let's see here, SPC. But this one, I'm a believer in space. I understand a little bit more. I'm longer term in these. Like my calls are way out until next year. We drink some water. But really looking to hold that $17, $16 range, which we've seen here, really tight consolidation. We have this beautiful squeeze setting up here, looking for that momentum to around $21. If this can really pop, we're looking for that momentum to really kick higher and fast. Basically, what happened here, again, a couple months ago, same kind of pattern, went from yellow to blue, popped up higher, and then hit that 21 and then 25. I think this could happen with this stock pretty easily. But again, that's really going to coming to tie into on the overall market and how things continue to go forth. ZM is a Wall Street best move. Can you check out Shop? Boss says. The old Shop. So Shopify is the only one that's kind of making somewhat of a recovery here. It is trying to make that little bounce here. So if we're looking at stocks, like what stocks usually go first on a sell-off? It's the stocks that are a little bit of that higher momentum. The ones that have moved a lot this year are usually the first ones to go. And we saw that with Shop. We saw that with Adobe. And all these other various companies like that are really kind of sensitive to larger moves. With Shop really kind of hitting here with the 5 and 8 moving averages, potentially it's trying to level off here. We're not aggressively pointing to the ground anymore, but we're just kind of trading sideways here, potentially seeing that movement to kind of continue around that 916-ish range. If we can hold that pattern, build a base, and start getting above that 965, that's going to be more of the bull case. The bear case is if we kind of just come up here to the 8 EMA, aka the 916, bounce off it and then just fail. We're going to basically looking for lows to continue to trend or sink to the bottom of the ocean around the $800 range. Apax says, I like to take my initial investment out of the profit, so keep some of the remaining. Yeah, you're basically, yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like, it's basically you're playing with house's money. AMD is a part of the QQQ long term, then going to be 240 to be careful. AMD. What are we going to do? I got a nice little soft spot for AMD, but this thing has been kind of yanking my chain and not in a good way. We're still holding that 55 EMA. We talked about it being, I love it and I still enjoy it all the way down to basically the $71 range. If we get below 71, I'm going to have to start cutting my longer dated positions to get out of them. To trim them, not just completely to sell everything, but just trim them and bring them down a smaller percentage of the overall portfolio. But that doesn't mean that I'm just going to be, if that hits 71 and I'm just going to just sell everything, I'm going to start selling a little bit. I can always get back in, right? That's the thing that people kind of forget of, like, hey, I kind of have sometimes aggressive stops, but guess what? Those stops sometimes save me from large downturns. Sometimes I miss them, just like you saw with Zoom, or you saw stuff with DraftKings. Like DraftKings is one that I'm still a little sour about, that I really just kind of missed that large move. But within NVIDIA, we're basically looking for this to potentially hold around 74, 75, build a base here. Again, that sideways actions, Kangaroo Market, whatever you want to call it. And start seeing these switches here. We need to see the volume oscillators start going completely negative. RSI is not crazy as well. Again, if this goes lower to around like the 30-ish level, this could be creating a little bit more damage. We need RSI to start getting above 50 again, and as well as just kind of stop with this downward bleeding in that kind of direction to the south. Yeah, I can't even touch Kodak. I know it's been moving and people have been running out, but that's literally, you think Nicola's terrible? Like, look at that. Ryan says FDFC. W40. Yes, this is going to be one heck of a boomer stock. Just had a squeeze. It fired short. It had a squeeze here as well right after earnings, fired short, looking for some potential initial support around 191, even down to 190, 189. But it looks like it's trying to recover here, like on this previous one. If we get a red to yellow, we could see this kind of start printing higher here. So this could be a potential nibbling here, like we talked about previously earlier, that nibbling moment where it's basically you're just taking a very simplistic strategy or a very small percentage of your capital to start investing in it or potentially trading in it. What I would do here potentially would be selling some puts somewhere around the 190-ish level there. Bacchus says, can we do Disney? Yeah, we can do Disney. Love me my Disney. So Disney, what do I say here? We are seeing some potential. We kind of failed here at just trying to break above that 137 range. I think that this is again somewhat relative to again the overall market coming off, but with the 5 and 8 potentially crossing to the 21, we could be seeing that momentum kind of carry down to the run in the 125 range, which is going to be a pretty strong support range. But if we do get the squeeze and we get any kind of momentum further to the downside, we're really going to be looking for support around the 125 to around 122. If that doesn't hold, we can be potentially looking for around 116 to 115 level to the downside there, Alpaca. Let's see. Look at Workhorse. Yeah, we can look at Workhorse. So with Workhorse, which is WKHS, we're looking here at potentially really breaking above that 2880 range, which we talked about in the Discord. If this trend wants to continue holding that 5 and 8 and just super strong momentum, I cut mine, taking my profits. I think this could easily still run easily to potentially the $38 if this momentum continues, if there's no negative news or something kind of drops. But this is going to be super mindful. Again, this could easily come back at any time because again, there's a lot of emotions and tied up stuff regarding if they're going to be getting that United States Postal Service contract. They have 3D renders though. They have beautiful. Actually, the 3D renders are actually not even that pretty. Brandon says DraftKings DKNG. Yep. So with DraftKings, we just did a previous video that I just released talking about some initial targets around $65 to $72. So that is basically some movement that we're seeing here in the stock. Again, those are just options volume. It doesn't mean that they have to come up to meet those targets. With that 5 and 8 moving averages continue to drive higher, just like we saw in Workhorse. That momentum has been super strong the past couple days, and again, at any second this can kind of dry up and give it back. So I'm a little bit hesitant on that. Oh, what was that? What the heck? Oh, DMC 8282. Thank you for the $5. Keep it up, and he's lifting the weights. Is that a pair? I love it. Thank you, my friend. But with DraftKings, again, it got a huge bump due to the overall reopening of potential economy, virus, and just the sports stuff opening back up. And a lot of sports, again, football and all that kind of stuff is live. So yeah. Brent, yeah, I really the TTM squeeze is fantastic. Ryan says our rocket strong L-shaped recovery. You're telling me, brother. That is, I'm just holding it. I'm holding it. Holding it to, again, $22, 22.50 ish range. If it starts breaking below 21 and $20, I can still continue to hold it, honestly. This again, newer IPO, got a lot of love, and then it did it. But so it got a lot of love, but then it didn't. Looking for that potentially to hold here. There's no real data on this yet because again, there's not much trading activity and not many days to look at on the daily side. So potentially looking here just initially around the 22.50. If this can hold, and the 5 and 8 can start leveling off here and getting back above. Still looking to kind of see it break above 25 to even 26 on some any good news and kind of some overall stronger recovery there. Alpaca is saying, is this a squeeze? No, is this a squeeze? A squeeze in what, there, Alpaca? Biden can barely read the teleprompter anymore, Ryan. Oh, we're turning to a political channel. I've been trading it up for Rocket. Uh, give me your opinion on NIO and Snap Baby. Yep. Okay. Let's see here. NIO. Let's see. I haven't looked at that the last couple days. Wow, that's actually holding up really good. NIO, Chinese, Tesla, whatever you want to call it, really kind of tight moving averages here, in that tight range between that 20 to around $18. If we get any kind of squeeze or any kind of consolidation around these levels, a little bit more tighter consolidation, I can easily see this come back to around 18, get some really tight consolidation, and get bursted higher. The overall target still 26 here. Looking for that momentum potentially to continue. If that doesn't want to continue and we start seeing the ticks break below the 21 EMA around $18 and below, we can come down to like 16 would be initial support, and then from that would be from 16 to $15 for some support further to the downside there. And then you said Snap. So Snap is definitely one that just like the DraftKings I kind of missed. This one's kind of been very choppy as well. Really kind of making that consolidation pattern here around the 22-ish dollar range. We saw that squeeze kick in. It finally fired, but it was a very stair-steppy kind of squeeze. It wasn't like a launch pad. It just kind of just hit its level and then traded sideways, hit its level and traded sideways. Now kind of looking for this potentially to, If it can't get above that $24 to $25 level, we can easily see some more consolidation or chop, and then or even go to the downside. But if we can get this kind of start getting above the 24, 45, $25, we can see the 25.50, and then like basically the longer term target around 28.50 to be within reach. I love the cardboard cutouts as well. Can they just do a little bit more like fancy stuff and just maybe have just some random people on a Zoom call? Like I think that's how the NBA do that. DMC 8282, Nike at 1166 appears earnings are coming up next week. Do I sell it before earnings, 50 shares, or can you tell me where to put the stop and tell me that, okay? Yeah, we can look at the Nike. That's NKE, right? Nike, so Nike kind of hit that wall already on the initial side around $118. The short-term support is going to be coming in around 113.66, even down to, if you're going to be a little bit more longer-term horizon, to the 34 EMA, which is around 110. And you're saying they have earnings next week, so we can look at the options chain there. So they're saying about an $8 move next week. So an $8 move where we're currently at is basically above 120-ish. With that movement, we get any good news, that next really overhead targets at 133. You can kind of see here that it's had a pretty large move off this squeeze here and is really just kind of grinded higher on the 21 EMA. Potentially, again, earnings, as you know, is a complete coin flip. So I still I do like this one, but it's going to be taking a little bit more time to potentially see it play out. But especially with earnings, it's too much of a coin flip for me to potentially see that move up or down in either direction. Because again, the earnings for me is a coin flip. But longer term, we can look here on the weekly side. We saw some nice moves here. Longer term support's going to be around that 110, basically what we talked about, and even down to that 105 range, but mostly to the 21 EMA around 103. But that near side target is 133. The much longer term target is 180, which seems pretty out of reach for Yoga Pants Company, though, as of right now. Not a Yoga Pants Company, but you know what I mean. FSLR shorted. Let's see. Let me get this back to the daily side. First, yeah, that's what. Ooh, what happened here? Some kind of like, did Hindenburg do an article on them or something? This got hit. This got hit hard, eh? Yeah, I saw a Canadian. Hey. Just joking. It really broke below that $64 range. We're really looking for some initial support around $60. That is also where the 144 EMA kind of falls into. So those are basically those initial supports that kind of come in there to the downside. It is basically a falling knife, because again, these are very aggressive with a gap down and two large candles. I'm not sure what happened here. I'm not familiar with the matter, but that is definitely a pretty large downtick move. I let the see on the longer term side. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna potentially look at the 21 EMA at 61. Daily charts looking for initial support around 60, but with a very aggressive move to the downside like this, I don't want to call a bottom. We really need to see how this kind of plays out. But a perfect example of that would be like the Intel. So Intel had a huge gap down, but it was on earnings. we kind of want to wait a couple days, usually 3 days at least, to kind of see some potential bottoming pattern. And we did see that finally come through. We see that squeeze come through, failed here at the 52, kind of coming back down. We're seeing the squeeze setting up a little bit again, potentially to try to break to that $52 range. If we get a break below $49, we're seeing basically can see some lower lows kind of come into play, looking for the next kind of a support beam around $48 and then down to $46 and then all the way down to $45 to that target there. What up, B? Okay, Beats, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for joining. Hey Ken, can you do TQQQ? Thanks. Yeah, TQQQ. This is the. I always get these mixed up. This is the short ETF of ProShares or something like that. I always get these mixed up really bad. Anywho, it mimics the Nasdaq or the QQQ ETF, but it basically is just a more of aggressive day trade. Again, this is still kind of pointing down, really kind of mimics the Q, so potentially looking for some support at this initial level around 115 to 116 on this side. But again, these moving averages are pretty steep to the downturn here, so it's definitely something I don't want to be quite touching as of right now. And again, I don't like, if it's one of these leverage ETFs, I'm not a huge fan of those. Oh, Tiger Woods didn't make the cut? Oh, God bless him. Policies, it says TAN, TAN. And it says exchange traded trust and solar. Oh, okay, so this is a solar ETF, like solar power, solar panels. This one looks pretty good, like to the upside. Nothing too. It has had a large move higher. With again the currently Kangaroo Market that we're in, kind of that chop here. Looking for some initial support around the 20 EMA. Looking to do some fibs here. Looking like it's trying to break above that $55 or $56 range is not having a lot of good luck. But if we see this movement continue and we see that movement higher to the upside, we're potentially looking for around $60 to the upside. So definitely looking for that to potentially happen. To the downside, looking for that potential move to support around 54 to around 53.50 for that continued base building. But if we start breaking below that, we can definitely see some lower lows well below $53 to $52. Golf is very hard, yes. I'm not sure who Marcus is. Who's Marcus? I don't know who that is. Sorry, DMC 8282. If it's a joke, I don't get it. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. As long as you know that, Trevor, if that that TQQ is, if it's just a day trade, you have to be very mindful of that. Yeah. Moat says, "What's up with Fastly?" Yeah, we can look at Fastly here real fast. Let's look at. I always get this ticker. Is it FSLY? Again, this is. I don't know what in God's green earth is going on over there at the potential movement of TikTok or stuff like that. But Fastly is looking for, like, it could be potentially a nice pop to the upside. We have a squeeze setting up here. We have that nice consolidation here around the basically $84-$85 range. If we can kind of get the movement to the higher, we'll see that potentially go higher. Okay, 1 second. I'm getting a warning from YouTube now saying my stream is not receiving enough data. What does that mean? Are you guys experiencing lag or anything? Hold on, let me refresh this real fast. If I refresh this, do I crash? I think I do. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully this goes away. If you guys, is everything okay on your guys' end? Ryan, that is something I am not a fan of, is extended warranties. Yeah, I think, yeah, Fastly is definitely tied to the TikTok stuff. That looking for that movement to kind of hold that $84-$85 range. If this can really get popping to the upside with that squeeze firing and the volume zone oscillator just popping to the upside, looking for that movement to kind of continue to $90-$95. So this is a nice little move that I would like to actually put on potentially next week. Looking for that potential move again. This is kind of doesn't really care what's going on with the overall market, and just really looking for that potential move to the higher highs around $80-$95. So sorry, $90-$85. Sorry, bleh. $90-$95, and really try to test that previous $100 move there. Okay, thanks everyone for the good feedback. Everything looks good there. Appreciate it. David S., thank you for becoming a member, my friend. I appreciate that. For that, you're going to get one of those. Did it pop up? Yeah, there we go. Thumbs up. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Or, you know what? I'm going to get you one of these here too, David. Here, we'll get you one of these. Oh, there it goes. Hey, high five. Love it. Nice. Thank you for the support, my friend. Fun stuff. Let's see. Do. I normally, yeah, so I don't do a lot of day trading at all. It's not really the best um, movement for me, honestly. Sorry, just reading a couple things. Leo, can we look at Uber? We did Disney, so um, looking for that really continue. With sorry, Disney, if if it doesn't hold that 125-ish range, we can easily come down to that 120 to even down to 116 to the net further downside. But we're really looking to kind of potentially break any kind of good news to the upside to kind of break that 137 range. Who is Alex Wixowit? Who's that? I'm not familiar with that guy. should I check Alex out? Is he cool? Yeah, I have to look up Alex. If you guys say he's cool, I can definitely check him out. High five, yes. Ken peeking to let's see here. Interday. Okay, sorry. Okay, Bet says yeah, T Doc. Let's go ahead and look at T Doc. Sorry. T Doc. T Doc finally kind of making that recovery that we've been looking for quite some time. With that movement kind of breaking through the 21 EMA, we have the 5 and 8 potentially crossing through the 21 to see that if we can break above the 208, we can see the 217 range kind of come back into play, which was that initial overhead resistance and level there. To the downside, short-term support around 185. Leo, oh, yep, sorry, Leo, I wanted to do Uber, the old Uber. Uber, kind of like we talked about, we saw that potential top here around $38 to $39. Didn't come crashing down like previous time. It's kind of coming to the short-term support side around $35. So 35.84 is going to be your first short-term support to the downside, and then it's going to be coming into around the 34.94 and then 34-ish even. But really strong support to the downside is going to be around $31.11. If this can base build here above that 35.80-ish range, we can easily see potentially that test of around $41 there. Oh, another $3. Oh, thank you, Mo. I appreciate that. He's a fellow YouTuber just like you, can day trading live on the morning. Oh, he does more day trading stuff. Okay. He's really nice and a whole different vibe. It's a whole different vibe from your channel. Ken, what is the most you've ever made on a call put option? The most I've ever made in like one single options trade? Uh, maybe a little over 11K. Um, can you look at Lulu, Lulu? Yes, we can look at Lulu. Lulu really been getting beat down here and just not having a good field day here. Potentially looking for some support around the $292, but this thing is still aggressively going down. So this is the, I'm not trying to compare. So DMC 8282, you talked about that of Nike. So I wouldn't put Nike and Lulu in the same box because again, Lulu just bought that fitness mirror thing, and really I don't know how that is really well connected. But with that movement, I'm a little bit fearful of this really strong down move in Lulu that it could happen to Nike because Nike could have that strong earnings run and then have that coin flop, and then you basically get that really, really like that no like what happened kind of pressure, especially with earnings being that really bad coin flip mentality. So I'm going to be careful out there with that. But with Lulu, we're looking for some initial support, potentially just trying to stop here around 295, but even kind of potentially coming down to around the 278, potentially to kind of even trying to catch this falling knife. Ryan says TSM. Yes, I like me some TSM. That sounds kind of dirty. TSM had it for like a trade here. The shorter dated stuff I had was building in this box. Guess what? It shut out of that box. We cut it, took that profit, came right back down in that box. Guess what? We're going to be adding it again. It's still holding that 21 EMA. I even like it between the 21 and 34 would be a great buy for me, in my opinion. Even down to the support would hold it to around 76 range. This thing has been holding up very well. Again, these are the guys that are going to be helping Apple create their own processor. It's going to be helping the PlayStation AMD folks to kind of create that processor as well. So they got a lot of stuff to be working. So they better be working 24/7 over there in their factories. Greg says, can we look at Piton? Oh, Piton, yes. I actually love Piton. It's hitting that 21 EMA really hard. We sold some puts here on that, basically that large swing down, basically around that $78 range, and those puts are just doing very well. Again, I wasn't too aggressive on this because that's not my style, but we're looking for that kind of consolidate around and holding at 78, even down to around that $75 range, and it's just now kind of just continuing and just grinding higher. And just really moving up in this really nice upward trend. With Piton, I think there's a lot more stuff that's going to be coming out down the road on newer devices. They're talking about a rowing machine. I think that they can easily mimic that from Lulu and other various components. David S., thank you for the $5, my friend. Keep it up. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. David's calling out VRX RT. Oh, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to keep up with everything, my friend. Sorry. VRXT. Because again, I get sidetracked again. I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD, so that's terrible things. Not terrible, but it's a fun way to kind of look at things. With this one, what is this? I'm not Vax, or I don't know what this does, but this chart is made a nice little recovery here. Nothing too impressive on the Fibonacci side, but just looking here on the EMAs here, it's jumping off that 200 EMA very well. So it's holding that $4.06 range, popping up on a lot of volume and hitting to the next range around $7.57. If we're looking for kind of holding that $7.57 range, its next target would be around that $9.47. Looks like we tried to hit that on Thursday and that really high movement, but that candle kind of just kind of came right back down. Again, I'm not familiar with the matter what this does, but this is looking like it's trying to recover pretty well here, David. It has the 5 and 8 potentially crossing through here and seeing that momentum to the upside. With this trend can continue. Initially, we're going to be looking for $11, then $12.57 there to the upside. This thing has clearly moved. Again, this was very much a penny stock a couple months ago and just came out of nowhere. So I'm guessing this is probably some kind of pharmaceutical stock. So I'm just not quite sure. But on the amount of volume that we're seeing, and it's not even kind of earnings, this is definitely some kind of movement like that, if I'm right or wrong there, David. Charlie's asking for a BJ. That's the store, not the anything inappropriate out there. Ryan, looking at you, Ryan. Uh, with that being said, we're looking for that movement to kind of continue with the old movement here. We're seeing the here. Let me update this chart here real fast on the weekly. this thing was a crazy looking. Look on the weekly side, that was basically doing nothing. Then of course the whole stay-at-home economy and everything, moving, going higher, seeing it swing substantially higher, looking for some short-term support, kind of coming around $37.84. Again, it's trying to make a bounce here. It's trying to recover here. There's no really kind of base building here. Potentially looking again for that 30-ish, 34, 35-ish range to kind of potentially hold. If we start seeing this movement going higher, trading sideways again around that 55 EMA, so around $40, and get those parabolic SAR dots below us, we could see some really nice movement here. Leo says JPM opinion. So the banks as a whole have just kind of been sagging and just lagging. Sagging and lagging was a good way to kind of summarize the banks. So I'm in XLF and then Bank of America, longer dated stock, and then options. This with JP Morgan as well. This easily is just kind of just trading sideways. We do have a squeeze sitting up here, but there's nothing to really write home about. If this squeeze fires short, we can easily look for around $92. But if we get some consolidation, any kind of good positive data above 100 to even to the 101 and breaks out above that, we can easily look for that 109 to 110 target there. CeeLo MM says MU made a killing this week, in this last 2 weeks. MU, the stock, or is that a nickname for something else? Yeah, MU finally made that like a recovery here. This kind of what honestly fell off my radar because it has been pretty heavy in like Nvidia, Intel, AMD, and TSM. But this is that's an interesting one. It kind of we talked about it bounced off that 42.25 range. Again, we have earnings coming up, so that's a coin flip. Be mindful of that, and seeing that momentum continue to potentially trade in that range here. Seeing that kind of hold that 50-day, potentially chop into earnings from that point. But if we get any kind of good earnings, we're looking for around $56 to the upside. To the downside, we're having a lot of support around 46 and then around the $45 range for MU. Leo says, do you think Rocket's going to be popping soon? So I have shares in Rocket as well, and I think as long as it holds that 2250 range, it doesn't break below like 2250, I'm still long it as well today. Oh, you sold today? Okay. Yeah, I had a nice pop today without a doubt. You're saying Amazon's settling for major support. Yeah, so we talked about Amazon towards the top of the hour. With Amazon, that being said, that's ticker symbol AMZN. We're looking for that kind of consolidation here, potentially around 2872, sorry, 2972. But that being said, that momentum's still pretty aggressive to the downside, with the 5 and 8 really kind of pointing to the downside, potentially looking for around 28.13 to even down to around 27.30 to the downside. So those are basically some lookings for there. So we get any kind of consolidation, either of those price ranges that we just talked about, start getting some base building. We'll see on how we can start recovering from that, or we can just get a straight rip from the bottom and get a nice little strong bounce to the upside. Senate says SGEN. I'm not familiar with this company as well, but this has come up before. So swing high to swing low. This looks like a nice little pattern here. had some kind of large move higher, broke above the 618, consolidated, and then tried to break above that 178 range here. Looking for this, if they can hold above this range, we can easily try to test that previous high and the next nearsighted target. Looks like it has a squeeze on the weekly sign, which is, this looks really interesting. If this weekly squeeze can fire and get that momentum to a much substantial higher price with more volume coming in the next week as well, we can easily see potentially that $200 price target coming in from there. So that's a great looking chart there. But if you're in that move, you're definitely seeing a little bit of profit taking potentially in the near term. Oh, it's a biotech cancer. Okay. So that always good stuff, because again, looks pretty sporadic on some moves there. So it looks like it's potentially got some good data or something kind of going out of there. So downside support is going to be basically kind of coming in around 170. That's a key level at the 1618, and even down to the downside to around that where it broke out, because it was a pretty large gap up, was around 155. Okay, Bet says Rocket needs a good catalyst. I thought about low interest rates for the next few years would propel it. Yeah, and then also just having more folks using their services. Honestly, like um, they were very popular. I remember them being very aggressive on not this home, but this last home I bought. They were I think I just filled out, this is like 2015, you filled out one of those little the blank stuff online to see what potential interest rates you could get. They called me every single day on like trying to get me to sign with them with the loan, but I already had a friend of a friend that knew someone that can give me a good deal. But now everything is done on the app, they say, so it's supposed to be super cool. um JA. We have covered SPY, but we can look at it again. So SPY, again, huge, the ETF that everyone follows and kind of tracks. On the daily side, key level at that 330 level, we are slightly above it. That was a key level that we talked about before. So we go over here to my super secret support level here, which is around that 330ish 91 level. 330 331 really is the secret level, potentially to kind of hold here. If that doesn't hold and that continues to break and we get some more selling coming into Monday, we can easily see some more further downsides to around the 125 to SPY, even all the way down to around 120. So those are definitely going to be potentially a lot of folks going to be watching that, especially when the futures open up on Sunday evening. And sadly, again, if you're will not be doing a live stream on Sunday, but I'll be potentially doing some streams throughout the week, because again, I'll be out on vacation. But I definitely don't want to leave my favorite folks hanging, and we can do some fun activities. Definitely going to be looking at starting a book club if folks are interested on that. Join the Discord. We're going to be doing a book club potentially on some financial books and kind of covering things like that. And I might just do a couple of videos regarding on some key books that I have read, or some technical analysis books, or some other various components like that. It keeps seeing a lot of their ads as well. Yeah, I just saw that too, Alan. My wife told me that when I was just about to go live. It's definitely going to get very interesting. Stop clicking around videos on YouTube, bro. What? I'm sorry to hear that, Brian. I believe it's a real thing, but if you're the theories, okay. Okay, guys, we're talking about conspiracy theories. Fun. Let's go ahead and just do a couple more things, and then we'll call it a night. Again, we are having one more stream tomorrow, which will be kind of supplementing, not completely replacing, but we're going to be doing a live stream tomorrow, 9 o'clock, to kind of cover some of the stuff that we do on Sunday. I'm bringing some fun stuff for the folks who are the YouTube members, and then also the Patreon members. I'm going to be trying to building a list of some stocks that I'll be looking at and kind of going on there. I'm going to the beach, Ryan. Yep. Where am I going? I'm going to, do you know a Bethany Beach? It's kind of a little bit more, it's not a crazy populated area. You're welcome, Brent. It's in Delaware. So with SPY on how we're getting to these levels, let me kind of just draw this. So that 129 level, 130ish level is kind of coming back through a lot of technical analysis and seeing on that. This is again on the SPY, looking for that initial support around 325, and then we can see here around 321. The sad thing is, I've been to Strasbourg, yes, a few times. Strasbourg? I don't know where that is. You talking about Sterling? Oh, I never heard of that. Where the hell is that at? Towns. Dude, where is that at? That must be in the middle. Where is that? Okay, that's way down by Winchester. Okay, so I'm kind of I'm in the Leesburg area, so Ashburn, Leesburg. So if you're any, it's near the Potomac River. So Alan says, "How do I join the Discord?" Here, Alan, 1 second. Let me get you. You just join here, invite, copy. Let me copy here, Alan. So just join that link and then ping me, Alan, whatever your username is, so I can add you to the membership tab within Discord. It is kind of middle of nowhere, Ryan, because it's between like Winchester and like Front Royal. That's like, well, do you? I'm guessing you drove down 81 then, because 81 is that highway where like most drugs are transported on the East Coast is through that 81 highway corridor. Like I think there's like millions of dollars. Tech, can you do run? Yep, let's look at run. I thought you were asking me to run. I'm like, I can't run right now. Yeah, I think you've talked about this quite a bit here, Tech. You've been really just been pretty. This one has just been a nice little trade to just continue to kind of grind higher. With that really support here on the 21 EMA, just been really just grinding higher. Potentially looking for some slightly kind of like I won't say stopping because again the RSI is not even overbought here yet. That is definitely a fun pattern to kind of play out there. Ryan says, I love Virginia. I love Virginia as well. I spent a lot of time near the DC area as well. I used to travel a lot for work. I'm not a fan of DC itself. Like, I couldn't live there. Um, but yeah. So I'm where I don't work. I don't go in the office as often, but my office that I would go to is right outside of DC in Arlington. I can basically, if you're familiar with, it's in like Arlington, Roslyn area. It basically overlooks like the Washington Monument. Beautiful building. Yeah, check this. I picked it up at 41. You picked it up 41. Nice. That's been a nice move. Um, Alpaca DC is too uptight. I think I think DC traffic is terrible. And I wouldn't say uptight. They just don't give a crap about anyone. Like they just don't. It just it's not. There's not. I don't find it friendly. You bought it at 45. Still, that's been a great move. It's nearly $63, $65. So that's been a great little move. Your first really support, if it starts coming down, be around $54, even down to 51. Um, but you're looking here on the weekly side, this thing has been kind of a straight up rocket. Um, uh, we are looking at potentially some like up here, we're seeing the moving averages slightly kind of curl off here. We're not hitting that RSI overbought or the volumes on also are crazy, but yeah, it's definitely going through there. Uh, Thoughts on Microsoft? Seems like they might be finding support on the weekly uh, TF. Nick. Okay, Nick, let's take a look at Microsoft. Yeah, I think poor old Microsoft, they have a great little business going on over there. Small little group of guys, just trying their. I don't know what I'm talking about. Um, Microsoft kind of coming down here. We talked about initial support being 200. Guess where it's at? $200. Kind of bouncing here at $200, and that's a nice round number. We are seeing that 5 and 8 moving average is still aggressively kind of point to the downside. If we can kind of hold some support around here on 200, that would be fantastic for the which I love Microsoft as well. I would like to actually add here a $200. So 198 even to 194 would be a nice adding position, or a nibble Nick, meaning that I would just add a very small portion to that overall position there. Ryan says, "Ken, please don't feel obligated to do YouTube videos if you don't want to take a break. We understand." Yeah, I don't. Again, I don't do this for the donations are very much appreciated, and the ad revenue is nice, but it's not a full time position, and but the only thing is, it comes down to the lovely YouTube algorithm. If I noticed, of course, I saw a drop when I had my surgery because I wasn't able to do any videos, but it was a kind of a I haven't really recovered from that. Literally 3 or 4 days of not doing videos. The YouTube algorithm kind of kicks you out because, again, they're like, hey, you used to do these Wall Street bets and analysis videos once or at least one a day, and now you're not doing anything, and then they kind of think you just fell off the face of the earth, and it just kind of perpetuates this. Then your videos don't get recommended, which is whatever. But I don't want to be the crazy Mr. Beats of YouTube, but I don't not looking for fame. I definitely would like. It's not fun to do something and you're just not really getting recognized for it, if that makes any sense. But I do appreciate what you mean there, Ryan. I really do. Would love to buy some Microsoft now. I don't understand why it's underperforming. I don't understand why it's underperforming as well. I don't think we always need to understand why it's underperforming. The overall tech industry is just kind of just not performing very well, and just kind of just having a very I want to say profit taking. I think it's like allocation. So if I am a fund manager that's basically looking for some consolidation here, and I had 10% of Microsoft, and I had this run up since the bottom here, and I'm up now it allocates the capital of 20-30% of my portfolio. I have to trim some off. Or it could just be like, hey, we're up for the year, boys, we need to take some profits and and just book those profits to kind of make our hedge fund or our trading firm good, so we have that cash on hand to be able to do so. Thoughts on battery day? I hope it goes well. I would love. I'm long-term trader or long-term investor in Tesla. So Tesla goes higher, I'm a very happy camper. Do beach stock idea videos on the beach, and you talk over it. Yeah, maybe alpaca. Again, I'm working on. I tested a camera today, and it didn't do very well on my face. Even though I have some nice lights and everything in my office here. Um, Again, it's gonna take a lot of makeup and a lot of prettiness to fix this. But yeah. Vlad, it's got to stay relaxed when you trade. Yes, I 120, 30,000% agree. Blame it on the camera. That what else would I blame it on, Ryan? Looking for the breakdown of just having to be in the right mindset to trade is, I think, the hardest part. Like, anyone can tell you the support and resistance, anyone can tell you on where you potentially could buy and so forth. That being said, if you don't have the proper fortitude mentally to do so and have the proper risk management and just the rules set in place, you can really just get hurt a lot. And that's how a lot of people lose. Like, they their ideas are great, the trades are great, but they let a loser run too long, and that really hurts them, and then that puts them in a very negative mindset, and then from there can kind of just try fold down into just a mess of a mess. Thoughts on investing in REITs? I don't know much about REITs, to be quite honest, my friend. I'm not the guy for that. Seeing your own face and your voice can be tough. Yes, alpaca, it is. REITs, I just don't know many REITs. Like, I thought about starting another section on the YouTube channel on just doing like longer term investments that, again, basically it's going to come out of Tesla. It's going to be coming down to Disney and those stocks, and potentially diving into potentially some dividend stuff. But they don't, and honestly doesn't put a lot of sugar or cream in my coffee, if you know what I mean, with those dividend stocks. Because again, it's great because, again, I can just put the money in my Wealthfront account and just see it grow from there. That's fine. Ryan, that is the book that I was going to do for book club the first time. Trading in the Zone is such a good book. That is such a good book. That is, I've read that book at least once a year. Ken likes the little place. Get out of here, Ryan. Mark Douglas wrote good book. Yeah, Mark Douglas. That was the book that I was initially going to be pitching to you guys if you want to read that for that first one. I was in the zone. Trading in the Zone reviews are all noob mistakes. What do you mean by that? Reading Outfitter. I don't know what that one is. Uh, Malcolm Gladwell's book. Is this the stuff about lying? I don't think I've read that one. What is the one he talked about? The lying. Was it lying? Was it him who wrote that book? No, I think Trading the Zone is a very good fundamental book to read. And even though I've been trading for a number of years and still am human and doing mistakes, that it's still every once a year I try to read it and skim through it on the audio section. I always were like, oh yeah, definitely something to look at. I'm currently listening to the Nikola Tesla uh, biography. YOLOing, what's all one company, right? Yeah, you can. I don't YOLO, but just be careful. And thinking fast and slow. Definitely another good book. Definitely all. There's a lot of good books out there. I try to listen to at least one book a month, even sometimes two. So again, Audible. Really should Alpaca. I need to get. You're the one who told me. I need to get Alpaca. I mean, an Audible sponsor going here. There's a survey in trading in the zone. I often spend sleepless nights worrying about the market. That's never a good thing, right? Like there's a saying like, hey, if the position's too big or you're worried about it and you can't go to sleep, you're trading too large or you're trading something you shouldn't be in. We got some other quick little stocks that are potentially setting up that I wanted to. Yeah, so definitely, it's like I wouldn't say it's common sense, but it sometimes tells you have to have someone else tell you something to kind of give you the best understanding of it. So for me, if I hear someone else reading it to me or telling it to me, it really just kind of sticks in my brain. JH says, if the markets close, it is out of your hands. Yeah, but I think JA that some people have a disconnect. Really? Some people have a disconnect from that. So basically, they would look at like that's the funny thing I always say when I do the Wall Street bets videos. You see each of the times their battery is so low because they're constantly touching their position. They're looking at it. They're refreshing the page and looking at any news articles that are going out. So their battery is so low. It's always like a somewhat of a funny thing when I look at those Wall Street bets posts on someone on Robinhood, and it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and their battery's at like 10%. All right, Ryan, thank you for stopping by, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Take it easy. Peace. Yes, Alan, I love Audible as well. Love it, love it, love it. It's pretty. I wouldn't say it's not cheap, but it's worth it though. All right, folks, let's do a couple more stocks. Been streaming for a little over 2 hours now. It's been a lot of fun. Um, yeah, we're definitely gonna watch. Yeah, definitely. That's the the low battery syndrome on Wall Street bets, without a doubt. Wanted to leave a couple stocks here to kind of look at for potential moves. So again, you guys came out. You guys did wonderful stuff. You guys support the channel. I really do appreciate it. I want the channel to grow. I want to help more folks, help people understand and get more people into the markets and have fun and just understand things. That being said, here I wanted to kind of give about 2 or 3 stocks that I'm going to be looking at next week. We can kind of look at moving here. So looking here at Verizon, I know that doesn't sound sexy at all, but this is the kind of stuff that I like to look at. Some shorter term trades that are just don't really care about what's going on in the market. We have that 5 and 8 moving average and 21 EMA really holding hard here, and we're seeing that move kind of continue to go higher, holding that 21 EMA and just kind of potentially holding some support here around $60 potentially, or the $59 range. We do have a squeeze setting up, no earnings on the horizon, potentially looking for this to kind of continue to grind higher, trying to break above that $61 range. So this is definitely be one on my radar as well. The next one's going to be Datadog. Datadog has been kind of recovering, even though the overall stocks, SaaS and Internet of Things have not. This is definitely one that has been performing pretty well here. So let me do this ticks here. So swing high to swing low, we see that tight consolidation here. If it can break above that $90 range, we're going to be looking forward to kind of potentially touch that 93 and even to that previous high around 98. But we do have a squeeze setting up here. We had a lot of volume come in, and it really didn't move that much with all that volume coming in. So if it can stay above that $82 range and even down to around $80 flat, we can see that potential move to potentially break above that $88 range to the upside to around 93, with that real target being around 98 to or 106 within the next couple weeks. Next one is going to be the old Eli Lilly, another pharmaceutical company. This one we're just selling some puts here, basically around 145. This thing has made a pretty strong base building here. We are seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21 here to the upside, breaking those parabolic SARs to the downside. With the squeeze firing higher, RSI and volume zonos doing great. We're going to be looking for some initial price targets in this one to kind of break above that 154, 155, potentially looking for around 160, but some potential overhead resistance around 157 to the upside. So that is one there. And next one is basically going to be TSM. TSM is definitely one that we've talked about a couple times already this evening. Continue to hold potentially the 21 to 34, so holding above 80 to around 78 would be a perfect world to kind of can see this kind of consolidate or potentially pop higher, but looking for some initial support even to the downside around $75 in the longer side, depending on your time horizon, but looking for the next overhead target to be around $88 there. So that being said, those are some stocks that I wanted to give to you to potentially look at how that would go from there. Alpaca's saying LAC. What's LAC? I think we did LAC. LAC. I always get this one. What? This is LAC. Is another SPAC, right? Is this a SPAC? I can't remember. This is like a lithium. Okay, this is wow. This is a great looking. This is really skyrocketed. I think this is again probably most. If it's anything to do with battery day, this has really just been flying higher. Wow. This thing looks really strong. Let's look at the fib here. Oh. Looking at hitting that initial target on $10.90, kind of giving back a little bit, kind of just trading sideways. Short-term support going to be coming in basically around $9.15. Longer dated support could be around $8, but this thing has already moved. It's going to be a very difficult one to try to get in front of. So yeah. Oh, you just took out your initial investment. Nice. Good one. Good one, Alpaca. That's a great trade. Trevor says, can we look at ABBV? Yeah. With ABBV, we're seeing that potential kind of consolidation here, with around that $90 range to around $89 range. This is looking like it wants the potential base build here on this level. we are looking for, again, that is that tight consolidation from its previous swing high to low around 78.6 percentile move. I kind of like this, but the only thing is that we've kind of seen a lot of downward movement already in the stock. It really needs to hold this pattern. If it doesn't really hold above that $80 to $90 range, $89 to $90 range, and that breaks, you see I have a price alert here to break. If it breaks below 88.36, can easily come back down to around $84. It's gonna be somewhat of a magnet too. To that really being said, if this formation can hold, we see the 5 and 8 kind of curl sideways and start trading sideways between the $90 range and get some more consolidation with some momentum going through, we can definitely see this potentially pop to around that $97 range. As a long term, okay. Then if you're long term, that you can hold this through a lot more with other. What up, Kelly D? Late to the party. What's up, my friend? Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. Extremely fashionably late. Hey, don't worry, Kelly D. We're going to be definitely doing another live stream tomorrow. So if I missed anything, do you have any tickers that you want me to look at real fast? I was getting actually a little bit on the tired side. I was going to head off here in a little bit. AbbVie's Botox is everywhere in California. I can imagine. It's because it was no, it wasn't. They bought someone. Because I thought I used to own the stock that made Botox, but I think AbbVie bought them, and yeah. Kelly says WBA, is that Walgreens? Have a great weekend. Thank you, Alpaca. I'm going to be on the Discord, so I'm not going to be running away from you guys. So, I love you. So with the old Walgreens here, we're going to basically be looking for some, yeah. Ugh. This is a tough pattern here. This overall trend is really much lower here, Kelly. Are you short this or are you long this? Yeah, that is a very much downtrend here, and it is trying to break out here, but it's not getting above that $37 price target. With the 5 and 8 potentially, if the 5 and 8 can cross through the 21, and we can get some more movement going up here. But that downtrend, is pretty nasty. Oh, you're long it. It's been a tough. How long you been long it? Like this is a tough looking hold though. You're on stock. Uh, I'll see on the weekly side we have a squeeze setting up here, but it's looking somewhat negative because we're below the 21 EMA and some movement forth. But this squeeze could be indicating anything. Like that's just not just one thing that we're going to be going off here. But that being said, let me look here. That it is trying to really break out of this trend here, but we're not seeing anything too positive. I don't know if there's like a new management in or something going on there. Um, that is definitely something that it's gonna be very hard and tough to look at because this thing has been just really tight and not being able to really get above the 21. We've seen it get above the 21 a couple times, but it just kind of came right back. So really not much to add there, Kelly. If it can break above the 21 EMA, then the trend could be potentially to try to break. But again, this is definitely the overall trend is still pretty steeply to the downside. All right, guys. The bounce got me excited the last few days. Yeah, I think the bounce it's bouncing off $33. It's a very tough one. So let me look here on a monthly. So we've seen some low prices way back here. way around like the $30 range multiple times, even down to the 0809 low was $21. I think hopefully they have added more value since 0809. So I think it's definitely well beaten down, but I think that it's still in a very strange place because again, those are a pretty aggressive downward moving averages here on even on the monthly side. I maybe bought a May around 42. Okay, I see. Uh, with this movement, yeah, this is looking definitely at some like it's even on a monthly chart, depending on what your time horizon is there, Kelly. It really needs to start building a base here. On the weekly side, I don't think we can have much on the weekly side on a base building, so it's gonna be hard to do. Tanner says you said PH looked like it was going to snap around. Look at it now. PH. I don't remember checking that. Oh, sorry. Snap around? What is slap around? It's definitely. When did I say it was slapping around? Because I saw this squeeze setting up here in earnings. I probably said it was a coin flip. I didn't want to touch it, but it's still going to be. It's still kind of trading sideways here because it has that squeeze setting up. RSI and volumes on oscillator just kind of trading sideways, and we're still in that purgatory box, basically holding that 114 to around 108 range. And we start getting some aggressive movement further below the 34 MA, so around 204, 205 below. We can easily see some potential lower prices, but again, this squeeze is really going to be dictating where it could potentially go. Timmy's saying check out the old CVS. Yeah, CVS is kind of do the same kind of pattern, right? Good night, Alan. Did you get to join the Discord, Alan? Ah, okay. Thank you. I got you. I got your message. Thank you, Alan. I will add you before I forget. I'm doing it right now, Alan, as we talk. There we go. You should have the membership status now. With CVS is kind of doing the same kind of pattern here. This one I follow a little bit more because I'm a CVS user. I think we're actually Walgreens users now. Actually, I take that back. With CVS, I have one right next door, and the 50% move here, we are seeing that same kind of pattern, potentially trying to touch that 21 EMA to the upside, potentially try to hit that 61 there, but potentially could be hitting that overall bottom. This chart just looks a little bit better because again, they do have they're merged. They have or have not merged with Humana, whoever the insurance agency is. So this is definitely one that could be. It's a little bit more well versed rather than just being a straight storefront prescription pickup like the old Walgreens. But both of them, this one's definitely kind of screaming from the bottom as well. Definitely would be an interesting one to kind of see on how it plays out the next couple days. On that note, I feel my voice going. My eyes are getting closed. I need my beauty rest, guys. Definitely we'll see you guys tomorrow for another fantastic live stream. And as well, we are potentially going to be doing a book club as well. Always keep in mind as well, we're potentially going to be doing what I would like to do is do a daily like nightly live stream to maybe do for an hour or so, do like a nightly show of sense of like 3 or 4 news articles, looking at a couple key stocks, and then kind of just looking at some charts from there. So love people's feedback on that, if that would be a great idea, something that would be interesting there to do. Would definitely appreciate any kind of feedback. That being said, any kind of feedback is good. Sometimes even the negative feedback does help a little bit. Again, guys, Thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Ambassador, and you guys have a fantastic night. And I'll definitely see you potentially, or if you do want to come out tomorrow night on another fantastic live stream. Again, thank you. God bless. Later. Bye bye. Peace.